Getting into med school feels like winning the lottery, except that instead of you getting cash, you get endless notes, exams, and existential panics at 2 a.m. But before you freak out or celebrate too early, here are 6 secrets I wish I knew before starting med school. These secrets will help save your sanity, boost your performance, and even make medicine fun. So stick around to the end because to me, the last one is by far the best. So let's start. The first secret is that you have to get a mentor. I used to think I could do everything by myself. Even if a friend of mine had the answer to a question, I would better prefer to struggle myself to get the answer. Big mistake. I've wasted a lot of time and energy just because of this ideal. Okay, even if you're an introvert, make sure that you have a mentor or a senior or anyone who knows the rope. They will save you from stress. They will even tell you insight about a lecturer's character preferences and even examination patterns, which is very, very important, and it might save you from burnout. So learn on them, lean on them, and just keep your pride, by the way. The second secret I learned in medicine is that master concept and do not cram. You see, the amount of information you will see in medicine is almost infinite, seriously. And at first, if you decide to cram, it will seem like progress, but cramming never sticks, like seriously, because this information just keeps on coming. So you can't keep up with cramming. So train your mind to focus on understanding core concepts. With time, lecturers always outline their aim or purpose of their course. So make sure that those are your guidelines that will direct you in your learning process so that you master the core concepts. You can later then decide to read textbook or watch videos on YouTube in order to build a stronger memory. That is how knowledge is actually built, not by storing unnecessary information that you can't even interrelate with them. Okay. The third secret I learned in medicine is that you have to limit social media. Yes, scrolling is stress relieving, but trust me, every minute you waste on Instagram or on TikTok is a minute wasted that could have been useful for sleep, useful for study, and even useful for revision. So rather than you wasting that precious time on TikTok and Instagram, you can either use it to sleep, okay, or use that time to watch educational video on YouTube on that day's lecture. You can also decide to test yourself. Trust me, if you do just these things, your future self and your GPA will thank you later. The fourth secret I learned in medicine is that you need to have in hand past questions. At first, I used to be that person who only answers questions only during the examination period, thinking it makes me smart. But at the end, GPA is the university's metrics in order to measure someone's performance, not your intelligence. So, how can you actually overcome this? The key is early preparation. So, you need to have in hand past questions. Why? Because these past questions can also tell you just how your lecturers actually set their question. It can show you their patterns and you can also use it as practice material in order to grab the core concept or become familiar with the material at hand. So do your best to have past questions in hand. You can even decide to use ChatGPT to run these very past questions and generate varieties of these questions and use that to test yourself, because the more you become familiar with these questions, the more the concepts become easier to understand, and the more obviously the exams will become far more easy and sweet. Okay, so never forget that. Do your best to always make sure that you get past questions. Never forget that. The fifth secret I learned in medicine is that you have to be curious, because without curiosity you can't build discipline, and you might even lose purpose in the long run, because medicine is really, really daunting and stressful to the human mind. So you have to make sure that your curiosity is always high, because your curiosity is what will always push you to want to learn more. I don't really know. Let me just say this before I continue. If you've actually watched the video right up to this point, I would like that you comment down in the comment section your struggles or what you've learned in medicine, so that others can learn from you or advise you. So with that being said, my sincere advice is that always make sure that you have a curious mind. But how do you actually build a curious mind? There are a lot of ways to build a curious mind. One is to actively ask yourself what the importance of studying that topic or course has to do with you. Okay, and not only that, when you're done studying a particular course or reading a particular topic, you can actively decide to go and research in order to try to understand what that topic is actually how that topic is important in the global scale. This actually, can build a sense of desire or curiosity to want to learn it more. And for sure, this will cause you to, learn medicine without burnout. And finally, guys, we are the last secret. And to me, this is by far the most important one that all of us should know. Okay, it's very, very important. So the secret goes as this: GPA is for the government, and you being a good doctor is for the patient. You realize that once you have become a medical doctor in the future, most often patients will not actually care about your GPA. Why? All what they care is if you can actually solve their problem. So if you can actually solve their problem, no patient will actually ask you how good you were in school. But for the government, it's completely different. The way the government knows how to be able to, you know, employ you or give you scholarship is based on GPA. So do not actually think that GPA doesn't actually matter. So my advice is that do your best to have extremely high GPA, possibly first class, because it sets you up for a better opportunity like scholarships, you know, and even employment opportunity. And while you're also trying to have a good GPA, I don't know what measure you take, but how you take it doesn't really concern me. But what actually concerns me is that while you are trying to have a high GPA, you should try to make sure that you understand the material, the core concepts of the material, because you being a good doctor, that's your main priority. That is why you wanted to become a doctor, by the way. So make sure that as you have a high GPA, also be someone that can back that GPA by being a good doctor. Okay, if you can actually achieve that, then trust me, you will never get frustrated as a medical student or even a doctor. That is my opinion, and I stay true to it. So we have come to the end of this video. If you think you had any sort of value from this video, you might want to like or share it to a friend. All right. If you like such content, I don't only give advice, but I also give tutorial videos. So you can decide to subscribe if you want to keep on having updates from me. Until then, later, guys, and stay blessed and stay safe.